Well, I want to introduce Kalisha Aaron. Please introduce yourself, Kalisha.
Hi everyone. I know I'm not a stranger to some persons. I am currently a student at USC doing my master's in counseling psychology with an emphasis in school counseling. I am from Dominica and I have been working along with GCSCORED for close to a year now, and it's a very good experience, a very rewarding one too.
Okay. All right, so you guys all know who I am. You were introduced to me in my absence. For those who are just coming on, I'm Dr. Larrier. And with me is Kalisha Aaron. And I think I also saw Wallace Harrell. He is our admin assistant. So we're going to go through, we only have an hour. And so we're going to go through this PowerPoint, this presentation, as quickly as we can, because there's some activities that I want you to engage in. So let's begin. I'm going to show this video. Are you hearing it, Kalisha?
Imagine if at-risk students were taught to recognize, understand, manage, express, and reflect on their thoughts, interactions, mindsets, and emotions. The results can be an increase in their academic performance. They will most likely graduate. They can become school leaders, leaders in their communities, family members with empathy who contribute to the healthy functioning of their home. Imagine if your employees learned to recognize, understand, manage, express, and reflect on their thoughts, interactions, mindsets, and emotions. The results will show up in improved communication skills, problem-solving skills, and productivity, and they would be able to work more collaboratively. Imagine if each individual developed the social emotional skills to be the best spouse or parent or child they could be. There will be happier homes. Everyone will be more helpful, kind, supportive, less abusive, and more harmonious. Imagine if any given individual can establish healthy relationships within his or her community. If he or she can develop healthy self-awareness, self-management, relationship management, social awareness, and decision-making skills, they all can grow a clearer vision of their life purpose. Communities will become safer, more cohesive. Community members will be more engaged, and we can ultimately have more civil societies. Learn more about how the RUMERTIME process can help you effectively relate to self and others while successfully navigating life in diverse settings locally and globally.
Okay, so what are you going to learn today? It's not in present. Here we go. What you're going to learn today is about GCSCORED, how to become a conscious problem solver, the 5 steps to become an empowered life coach, the definition of social emotional wellness, the definition of the RUMERTIME process, and we're going to actually do some application today. We're going to make some what I call carts, right? Connections, applications, reflections, and transformations. So that's what we're going to do today. Buckle up your seatbelts because we're on a ride and it's going to be fast. It's going to be like how people drive in Trinidad, you know, like fast. And I want to welcome individuals and students from across the Caribbean. I understand that there are students from Barbados, Antigua, Dominica, Guyana, Trinidad. Where else are you guys from? If you can just write in the chat, we're going to use the chat. Write in the chat where you're from, please. Write in the chat. If everybody can write in the chat your name and where you're from, that's going to help me connect with you. All right, so we're going to keep going. So about GCSCORED, who is GCSCORED? What do we do? You know, in life, we all face challenges at home, at school, in the community. And these challenges can become barriers to us forming supportive relationships and healthy relationships with ourselves and with others. And so at GCSCORED, what we do is we educate and equip individuals, equip you with the social emotional skills necessary to become a conscious problem solver and your own life coach, ultimately helping you to become and empower the best version of yourself. And so our purpose is to build relational capacity in individuals, families, institutions, and communities. Our mission is to renew minds, transform lives, and create safer communities. Our why statement: why should you choose GCSCORED for any type of services related to social emotional wellness? Well, here's why: because we at GCSCORED will help you become a conscious problem solver and an empowered life coach. And our vision is how we envision our world, right? Being in this world, you're here for a purpose. And your purpose should be, at the end of your life, people should be able to say that you did the work that you were put here to do, and you do it well. And so our vision is to help individuals of all ages live their best lives in resilient settings and societies where every one of us, individuals, institutions, and communities, are fully engaged, and where every piece matters. And every piece matters is our logo, and you will see our tagline, and you will see puzzle pieces, and that's who we are. We are about making sure every piece matters. Our goals, we have two goals, very clear goals. The first goal is to increase access to the destigmatized and demystified problem-solving strategy known as the RUMERTIME process. And this process helps individuals globally and locally become conscious problem solvers and empowered life coaches as they journey and as they acquire these social emotional markers. So that's goal number one. Goal number two is to educate, equip, and empower you to effectively utilize the goals that you learned, and as you renew your mind, using the social emotional competencies, as you transform your life, and as you work to make your communities safer. All right. So that's who GCSCORED is in a nutshell. So here are the ways, the different programs that we have that helps us to operationalize our goals. Those two goals that we just talked about. One is to increase access, and two is to educate, equip, and empower individuals to use what they have access to now. Okay, so when we teach the social emotional skills, the RUMERTIME process, we're going to make sure that we equip you and we have the programs to help you with that. So this is the list here, and I can give this information to the organizers of this program, Ms. Ellis, and she can pass this on to you all. But these are our programs. Our GCSCORED is the parent organization. Then we have the Listening Oasis Wellness Space, and that's a place where it's a space where there's an 800 number for the US, but then we also have text chat line on the website itself. And it is a free and confidential service that provides social emotional wellness support. We provide social emotional wellness support to anyone, anywhere, using the text chat line and the 800 number. If you go to that website, you can see more about it. Then we also have the Institute for Social Emotional Education, and that is being launched by the end of this week. That's where we offer online courses in a variety of topics, including the one that we're talking about today. And they're all based in social emotional wellness. And then we have JGET, which is the Journal of Global Engagement and Transformation. And as students in college, and I don't know if anybody's in grad school yet, but in college, I'm sure you have papers to write, and I'm sure they require you to do some publishing. This is an opportunity, this is a space where you can submit articles if you want it to be considered or reviewed for publication. This is a well-established publication journal. It is open access and it's online and it's free. And if you go to that website, you can get more information. Then we also have the ARC podcast. ARC stands for Access RUMERTIME Conversations Podcast. You can go to our YouTube channel and you will see that information. Then we have Down to the Roots blog. That link is also there. You get to read about what's going on. We talk about some, important issues currently. If you're interested in submitting a blog post, let us know. Here is the flyer for the Listening Oasis, and this is the logo and information on the Institute for Social Emotional Education. All right, let's get into the meat of what we're here to talk about. Social emotional wellness impacts us all. And so this is one of our foundational, rudimentary pillars of beliefs that drives our work. And it is, as air is to life, so are social emotional competencies to relationships. They are like the air we breathe. And you will see why in a minute. So the roots and fruits of social emotional wellness. Here we're talking about, this infographic shows us at the roots we have the 5 social emotional competencies. We have the 5 social emotional competencies: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, responsible decision-making skills, and relationship management skills. So there are 5 core social emotional skills that whether you have them in abundance or just you lack in some of these skills, or maybe all these skills, they are at the root, okay? And it doesn't matter what age you are. So this applies to children, it applies to tweens, youth, and adults. And it also applies to all of these individuals, children, tweens, youth, and adults, in home settings, schools, community, and at work, okay? And at the root of this tree, the social emotional wellness tree, again, the 5 social emotional competencies. And these roots, if nurtured and provided the necessary essential growth elements, will bear fruit such as academic growth, spiritual growth, physical growth, psychological, cognitive, relational, professional growth, and personal growth. Okay, so we see that if you take care of the root, the fruit will take care of itself. Okay, keep that in mind. That's a tweetable. You take care of the roots and the fruits will take care of themselves. So when you see people focusing on behavior, and you're focusing on maybe you're not performing well in school, or you're not, your relationships are suffering, your work life is suffering, travel down from the fruit and go down to the root and see what is at the root of that fruit. Okay? And it's usually there is some imbalance in one of these 5 social emotional competencies or skills. All right? So you take care of the roots and the fruits will take care of themselves. If you have questions or comments, please use the chat to engage. We're going to read what you have in the chat. If you want me to repeat something, write it in the chat so that I will find out. Kalisha will help me with that. All right, so moving along. So what is social emotional competence? Social emotional competence is your ability to recognize, understand, manage, express, and reflect on your thoughts, your interactions, mindsets, and emotions as it relates to self, others, and situations. And if you notice that all the letters in red, they spell the word, our acronym, RUMERTIME, okay? Effectively utilizing these competencies helps to educate, equip, and empower individuals of all ages, stages, and locations to successfully navigate daily activities such as loving, learning, earning, relationship building, problem solving, and adapting to the demands and growth of development. So that is what social emotional competence is. And the topic today is what? Building social emotional capacity and in university students. So this is what you're going to be trying to build. This definition here is what you're going to be trying to build. You're going to be trying to build social emotional competence, increasing your capacity to engage in relationships, not just with others, but with yourself. All right. And so here are some of the benefits. Here are some of the benefits of building and increasing your social emotional capacity. And it benefits individuals and it benefits settings, right? Or ecosystems. So it benefits individuals, it benefits the individuals in the home, it benefits the individuals in the schools, it benefits individuals at the workplace, and it benefits individuals in the community. And so these are some of those, right? So the individual, so if you notice here, it starts with you. Because you go into all of these, you are embedded in all of these settings. So when a home or a school or workplace or community is not functioning, is functioning out of balance, right? When there is imbalance at home, imbalance at school, imbalance at work, and imbalance in the community, guess what is the constant? You, right? The individual, because that's what makes up a home, a school, work, and a community. And so it is critical, right? It is critical for the individual, for each and every one of you on this call right now, on this workshop right now. I see 60 people. Each of you must invest, and it's very commendable that Ms. Ellis and her department have decided to include this topic, building social emotional capacity in university students, because it is at the root of everything you do. Like I said earlier, as air is to life, so are social emotional competencies to relationships, okay? All right, so these are some of the benefits. You can see that on the screen. It builds empathy. It helps with better relationships. It gives you a clearer life purpose. And many of you are in the stage of your life right now where you are trying to figure out what you want to do with the rest of your life. And having this opportunity to learn about social emotional competencies is going to help you understand, and have a clearer life purpose. At home, you have more peaceful relationships. You're more open. You don't get so easily offended when people give you feedback, trying to help you. That's what having healthy social emotional competencies can do for you. At school, it enhances your academic performance. Then at work, you're more collaborative. There's better work ethic. Then we have in the community. In our communities, it increases social consciousness and social cohesion, and reduces crime and violence. And we know many communities, I just saw in the news today, my husband shared with me something going on in Guyana where there's some riots taking place because two cousins were killed or murdered or something. We can reduce these antisocial behaviors, the crime and violence, if we as individuals take responsibility and become socially, emotionally competent. So what does the RUMERTIME process mean? The RUMERTIME process is a 5-step social, emotional problem-solving strategy that helps individuals move from a position of intra and interpersonal imbalance to intra and interpersonal balance, and from unconscious living to conscious living. I'm going to say that one more time. The RUMERTIME process is a 5-step social emotional problem-solving strategy that helps individuals move from a position of intra and interpersonal imbalance to inter and intrapersonal balance, and from unconscious living to conscious living. All right. And the elements of the RUMERTIME process. The elements of the RUMERTIME process are recognizing, which means to know or to list, understanding, how does something work, right? You want to get to the root of it with the understanding phase. Managing, coping, you want to be able to regulate, the ability to care for, to treat with care, to make compliant, to contend with, to cope with. Expressing is the ability to verbalize and demonstrate explicitly, externalizing one's internal dialogue. Expressing, bringing something that is internal to external. And then reflecting. What does that have to do with recognize, with RUMERTIME process? Reflecting is to think quietly and calmly, to look back, to show something, to make known to self, okay? And then we have thoughts. Thoughts, the act or the process of thinking, ideas, pictures, a plan, opinions, formed in your mind, constructed in your mind, okay? And I also say to people, think of thoughts as individual grapes and as a grape. And then when we get to mindset, think of mindsets as a cluster of grapes. Or in the Caribbean, we have plums, right? So think of a thought as a plum, a governor plum, or what's the other kind of plum they have? You know, those plums, okay? And a bunch of them in a bowl as mindsets, okay? So thoughts make up mindsets. So interactions, we know those are mutual or reciprocal action influence how we act, behave. Mindsets, again, is a particular way of thinking or seeing the world. It's your worldview, it's your disposition, it's your attitude. That's mindsets. And emotions, we know those are feelings, okay? So these are the elements of the RUMERTIME process. It spells RUMERTIME based on the first letter of each word. So how do these work in your daily life? So this infographic shows the interface between the 5 social emotional competencies and the RUMERTIME process. So for example, if you look at self-awareness in the green hexagon, yes, you will see recognize and understand. So self-awareness is aligned to recognize and understand in the RUMERTIME process, okay? So those are side by side. They interface. This is the meaning. That's the meaning behind self-awareness as it relates to the RUMERTIME process. So then we have self-awareness, which is recognize and understand. Then we have self-management and relationship management. These are this is manage. So remember, RUMERTIME has 5 steps, or in the RUMERTIME process, we call it plots. Recognize is R, you understand, and so that's self-awareness, recognize and understand. Then we have manage, which is self-management and relationship management, and that's the M, right? Manage. So we have R, U, M, and then we have express, which is under social awareness, being able to think about others, being other focused. And then we have responsible decision making, where we have reflect. How can I make better decisions? When I've come to, this point in my career as a student, or even during the day as you're making decisions, how am I going to juggle working online and going to school online, and the myriads of other ways and issues that we're all facing right now? Okay, so this is what it is. And so then you want to ask yourself your time, right? Recognizing and understanding my time. Time is, who can put in the chat what time stands for? TIME. If you put it in there, you may get a gift. So what does time in the RUMERTIME process stand for? TIME. And so here's how social emotional skills occur in your daily life. By asking, let's talk about self-awareness, recognizing and understanding who you are. And you're looking at, who am I? Why am I here? Why am I here today? Why are you in this meeting today? What are you good at? Am I good at math? Am I good at what? What are you good at? What do I like? What do I believe? So these are some of the questions that we process in our minds, or we rumorize in our minds on a daily basis, and you may not be conscious about it. And so this process helps you to move from unconscious living to conscious living. Then look at responsible decision making. How can I make better choices? How do I always end up in these situations? Sometimes some of us end up in, we have repeatedly bad relationships, unhealthy relationships. Don't just focus on the fact that you're in a bad relationship. Go deeper and ask the question, why do I end up in these bad relationships? What are my thoughts? What are my interactions? What are my mindsets? And what are my emotions that keeps me in the cycle? Okay. How am I doing on time? All right.
Dr. Larrier, you're doing good on time. There's a question which I think would be good to ask now as you are breaking down the social emotional competencies. Mm-hmm. The question is, at times the easy part is to recognize and understand, but how does one effectively express emotions without seeming overly emotional?
Right, very good question, very good question. Yes, how do you do that? Keep in mind, here's something that I teach, that feelings have no intellect. Feelings have no intellect. Feelings are fueled, pay attention, feelings are fueled by your thoughts. okay? So you can control, you can manage those emotions that feel that you know, overly, that may cause you to be overly emotional by your thoughts. You get to do that. We all have that choice. So you can choose based on what you're thinking. And that's why it's so important to, when you're in a situation, to pause. If you have to move away from the trigger, do that. Whatever you need to do to get away from the triggering event so that you can go through this process, the recognizing, understanding, managing, expressing, and reflecting on your thoughts, your interactions, mindsets, and emotions. You can do that and get to the root of what is happening while controlling and managing those emotions, because the emotions are based on what you're thinking about. Okay? All right. So let's go to the process of rumerizing. The process of rumerizing. As you reflect upon a triggering event, and I just talked about the triggering event. So we can all have multiple triggering events. And what I want you to do is start thinking, okay? Start thinking about some of the triggering events that you are experiencing now in this season of your life. In this season of your life, what are some of those triggering events? So I want you to think about the triggering events, and as you reflect upon those, it helps you to make a clear-headed assessment of the benefits and the drawbacks to your involvement with the identified triggering event. It is in reflecting, okay? Here's another tweetable. In order to be effective, you must be reflective. All right? So I don't know if Kalisha wants to write that in the chat, but that's it. I want you to remember that. In order to be effective, you must be reflective. If you want to be effective in any area of your life, you want to be an effective person just for yourself, just to be the best version of yourself, you have to be reflective. You cannot move from one situation to the next without reflecting, because then you're going to continue. That's the reason why you continue in relationships or in situations that are non-productive, okay? Or maybe even harmful. Practicing, it is in reflecting that your social, emotional skills are actuated. Practicing these steps daily with any life situation, whether it has to do with you or relationships or situations, can promote your development as you become socially and emotionally competent. All right, so we're getting ready to start actually applying this, rumerizing in action. So remember, the RUMERTIME process is about recognizing, understanding, managing, expressing, and reflecting on a triggering event. You become self-aware when you, this helps individuals, it helps you to become self-aware as you rumerize your thoughts, your interactions, your mindsets, and emotions. As you move through the 5-step process, which is RUMER, you can discover ways to productively and appropriately externalize your time. And your time is what? Thoughts, interactions, mindsets, and emotions. This facilitates your growth and development in the areas of inter and intrapersonal relationships. So now, oops. All right. So now we're going to look at what is happening currently in this season, in this period, what you're getting ready to embark upon as school begins. So I call it the convergence of crises. the COCs. So we're having education challenges, and that shows up in academic, relational, logistical, the digital divide. We also see convergence of crises where there are resource availability and accessibility issues, right? Some of you are in maybe in spaces where you have enough resources, and others of you may be in spaces where your resources are insufficient. Many, and this is something I say, given this COVID crisis, this COVID-19 pandemic, every single one of us, every one of us fits under the definition of having been traumatized. Okay, so nobody on this call is excluded from having been experiencing trauma. All right, then we also, and it shows up also in some of the mental health challenges, increasing in depression, anxiety, and suicide. And in the RUMERTIME, or the Cultivating Seed System framework, which the RUMERTIME process is the intervention prevention component, when we don't use mental health language, we ascribe those challenges as social emotional imbalances. All right, imbalances in your thinking, in your interactions, in your mindsets, and your emotions. All right, so these are some of the convergence of crises. Here's some others. COVID-19, some of the outgrowths of these deaths and dying. Some of us may have lost loved ones. Some people may be dying. Then we're experiencing isolation, confusion, relationships. We're questioning relationships. We are reevaluating and reassessing relationships, and the importance of, you know, sound and helpful relationships. Then we have issues and convergence of crises in the work-school life balance. Some of us may be very stressed right now. Time management. Then we have issues related to economic challenges, job losses, campus work-study losses. Some of you may not be able to get to Trinidad, or you may not be able to get back home to work on campus, which is your source of being able to afford university. That's a challenge, that's a crisis, right? Some of us may be experiencing at a spiritual crossroads, questioning your spiritual beliefs, your traditions and practices. And so if you don't see yourself in any of these, I want you now to think about your own crisis or challenge. If you think crisis is too strong of a word, I want you now to think of your own challenge, okay? And we're gonna talk about what are your thoughts about that challenge, what are your interactions, how are you behaving, your mindsets and your emotions during your challenge. And so I'm going to go to the first one. Your common thoughts about, common thoughts associated with convergence of crises. Thoughts are ideas or pictures you have in your mind. Thoughts are at the root of behaviors, attitudes, and emotions. So what are you thinking in these times? Here is one of our principles. Influences plus thoughts equal destiny. Your thinking determines your destiny. What are you choosing to have influence your thoughts and your destiny? All right, so common thoughts associated with. I'm gonna stop sharing here. Well, no, I need to share still because I want you to see this. Now, I want you to start thinking, and then I'm gonna, about convergence of crisis or convergence of a challenge. something that is challenging you right now. You are now going to rumorize yourself, okay? You are going to begin the process of rumorizing yourself. So thoughts are ideas or pictures you have in your mind. Thoughts are at the root of behaviors, attitudes, and emotions. What are you thinking about? Thinking, not feeling, okay? This is what's happening in your mind, not in your emotions. So what I want you to do is start writing. I stopped sharing for a minute because I want to see people's faces. I don't know, are you guys to be asking people to turn their cameras on? It would be good. So what we want to do is in the chat, I want you to write out, I want you to start writing, what is an issue that you're dealing with? What is a challenge? What is a crisis? What is your conversions of crisis right now? I want to see responses in the chat. In the chat. I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Actually, 1 minute. Kalisha, tell me if anybody's writing anything in the chat.
I will.
Okay. So those are the thoughts. All right, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to go then to...
Okay. Anicia said her transition from Guyana to Trinidad.
Okay. So
RH, another person said school, financial stability, and family.
Okay, good. Okay. All right, so what are their thoughts? What I want them to do now is write out at least 3 thoughts surrounding those crises or challenges. And this is a process you can use when you can't go to talk to somebody. You can rumorize yourself. Okay.
Okay, another person said my relationships with family and friends.
Okay.
And another person, that's Joanne. Asher said my crisis right now is homeschooling my children and not being able to travel.
Right. Okay, so what are your thoughts around that? I want you to write out what your thoughts are. Write at least 2 thoughts. What are you thinking of?
Anicia, she said, she was the one who said she her transition from Guyana to Trinidad. She said she's worried, anxious, but hopeful.
Okay,
Feelings.
those are emotions.
Yes, feelings.
Those are emotions. So what this RUMERTIME process does, it really forces you to think this through and streamline it, because this is a way for you to help you sort out what your crisis is, what is at the root of it, so that then you can manage it appropriately, right?
Okay. So Asha, who said that her crisis right now is homeschooling her children and not being able to travel, she said, my thoughts are that COVID-19 need to go away so we can go back to normal. That's a very, that's good. You were able, she was able to
yes, get the thought out.
And she said, I feel I made a mistake. I want to quit and go back, and I am thinking I am not making progress.
Okay, so good. So your thinking is that you're not making progress.
Yes.
Right? That's your thought. And so we're going to go now. Let's go to interaction. Okay, why is this not moving?
Okay, just finishing reading in the chat what some person said. Joanne said, work, family, and doing my best. Holly Ann said, sending my son back into school due to COVID. And Felicia said, how am I going to cope with school when I lost my job due to the COVID-19 crisis? Nakisha, time and money management. And Edisa, my spiritual life, my family. I'll be back. Give me 1 second.
Okay. Good. You guys are getting it. You're getting it. So now we've isolated, we're deconstructing. So what we're doing is deconstructing or performing what, this is kind of morbid, but we're performing a post-mortem. We're performing an autopsy on your crisis right now. That's what we're doing. We are taking that crisis in our hands and we are deconstructing it so that we can manage it better. All right. So now, so you've deconstructed so far your thoughts regarding your crisis or challenge. Let's go to the interactions associated with it. And interactions are behaviors are influenced by what you are thinking. So what?
Sorry about that, Dr. Larry.
That's okay. So what are some behaviors or interactions that you notice you have started doing since whatever your crisis is? Again, we're looking now at behaviors, okay? What are some of the things that you're doing? Since you had these thoughts, since you've been having this crisis, how are you behaving? How are you interacting with yourself? What are you doing to yourself? What are you doing for yourself? What are you doing to others? What are you doing for others? How are you treating others? Let me get some responses. Anything in the chat yet?
Yes, just unmuting my mic. So Edisa, if I'm pronouncing your name wrongly, I apologize. She said, I've been alone, I push others away. Kalisha, who is, I believe she shared earlier on about her concern for going back to work. She lost her job. She said that she has been withdrawn. Asha, who is dealing with the transition from Guyana to Trinidad, she said, I have noticed that I am behaving aggressively and negatively sometimes, but most importantly, I am praying more. So we're seeing some negative interactions and some positive interactions, which is very
right. Good. Yeah, so some helpful and harmful interactions. Wonderful. Now, do you see how this is going to become clearer and less foreboding? Because now you are in charge, guys. You are now in charge of this crisis and challenge in your life, and you have a way to work through from top to bottom, from bottom to top, how to deal with it. All right, so let's go to
just sharing some more. RH, she said sometimes, I'm not sure if it's a he or she, sometimes I become secluded, might get snappy. Holly Ann said she's shutting out people, snappy, lashing out. Nakisha, I become aggressive and withdrawn. Anisia, I keep telling myself I can create positively isolation at times. I try to help other people when necessary. JL, pushing all my friends away and cutting contact because of anxiety. Forgot how to interact with others and blocking myself from feeling emotions. And another person said, I haven't been praying as much, and that's really bad. I'm losing my relationship with God, but he's still there. So you're seeing a lot of persons are having different interactions, harmful as well
helpful, yeah, exactly. And what this, again, you are now again in charge of what is happening. You're deconstructing it. And so then when you express, as we're doing right now, right, you're expressing, you're bringing from the unconscious internal to conscious external. That's expressing. All right, so here's another one of our beliefs. To recognize your beliefs. Beliefs influence behaviors. This is another tweetable. Beliefs influence behaviors. What are your beliefs about the population you work with? What are your beliefs about yourself? What are your beliefs about the work that you have to do? What are your beliefs about your relationships? What are your beliefs about God? What are your beliefs about any and everything? Because those beliefs influence behaviors. And remember I said earlier, beliefs are like a bowl of plums or grapes, right? It's a combination, it's a collection of grapes and a collection of thoughts, right? So let's go to mindset. Common mindsets associated with convergence of crisis. Attitudes or mindsets are formed as a result of persistent, dominant, and recurring thoughts. What has been your attitude during these crises that you have identified? Okay, so let me give you an example, because this sometimes it's hard for people to differentiate between thoughts and mindsets. So a mindset is the lens through which you see the world. If you believe that, I'll go with an example. If you believe that, oh my goodness, I am feeling far from God, and then that's a thought or a feeling. I'm feeling far from God. That could stem from a mindset that says, God doesn't love me, or God is somebody who moves based on how I feel, right? That's a mindset. The mindset in there is that God is not trustworthy, God is not stable, because depending on how I feel, he operates based on my feelings. So that's a mindset. So what are some mindsets, or what is your attitude about the different factors that you just talked about, or those
Okay.
who've been,
So Asha, she said, my belief, I think she's talking about her spirituality, is that without God, I am nothing. And I
Okay.
believe she's the one who also mentioned about praying. So
Okay.
interaction still linked with the beliefs. So in spite of everything that is happening around her, she is still seeing the importance to stay close to God, because without God, she is nothing.
Very good. That's a good example. That's about a mindset. Yes, go ahead.
Well, R.H. said sometimes her beliefs and convictions become shaky due to trauma, and it make her question herself. She make her question them. It make her question the beliefs that she has.
Okay. And so, which then says that her beliefs are not as firmly grounded, which could be a good thing, right? Which could be a good thing, because then that means you can, if those beliefs are making you have, harmful ideas or feelings, the fact that they are not grounded and cemented, they could change, then that's good, because then you're in a space where you are open for growth and change. All right.
Okay, Asha said, my belief about work is that I don't want to be around my coworkers. I was just wondering if that has to do with her thoughts, and probably what about her belief is causing her to think like that. What is it that she doesn't want to? What is it that's making her think that I don't want to be around coworkers?
Exactly. So what are the thoughts, right? What is that belief there? Is it that you believe they have COVID? Is it that belief? Is it a belief that they're not following the CDC guidelines? What is the belief that's causing you to not want to be
around the co-workers? Right. All right. Her Hemra Beckles, she said, God is forgiving, but I also have to help myself. So that's her belief. Rosalie, hi Rosalie. Rosalie said, God is the same despite me. He is love. So God never changes despite she changes, and he is love. Good. Shalina said, I remind myself that if I do my best, God will do the rest. So it's a belief that God is going to take care of me once I do what I have to do. JL said, my belief is that I am not enough to be around others. Nakisha had also mentioned that she started to incorporate affirmations, speaking what I want to into being, like what she wants to be into being. And JL said she used affirmation as well. And Asha, she said, working in the health sector is stressful right now. Health staff, Asha is in the health sector, and the health staff being overworked. So I guess
Oh,
that's
okay.
where all these feelings and all these thoughts are emerging from.
See it from. Good, good.
Anicia gave some of her beliefs. She said, I believe I need to seek God first. I believe I am a winner. I believe I need to see people as important as I am. And I believe I am on purpose here. That she has
Okay.
purpose being here.
So
Very good
those,
responses.
yeah. So those beliefs, remember, those beliefs influence your behaviors, okay? They influence your behaviors. All right, so the last one, common emotions associated with your convergence of crises. Feelings have no intellect. They are directly controlled by your thought or your thinking patterns. So
Dr. Aria, could you please repeat that? Because Holly-Ann wanted that exact statement from you. So feelings have no intellect. So please repeat it.
Feelings have no intellect. They are directly controlled by your thinking patterns. So what have you been feeling during these times? Feelings have no intellect. They are driven and fueled by your thoughts. Okay, so what are you feeling now? Now is the time to talk about feelings. What are you feeling now? What are some of the feelings regarding your convergence of crisis?
I believe that's an area that everyone should be able to respond, because many times when you ask somebody, so what is it you are thinking? They tend to say, well, I am feeling.
Feeling, exactly.
So, Marisa said on one hand, she's being depressed. Well, she's feeling a bit depressed, but on the other, trying to remain positive with all that is going on. It's like a war of emotions.
Right. And so what again, remember,
I was coming out to tell you.
Keep in
how
mind.
Organized USC is. It's refreshing.
Okay, go ahead.
Keep in mind, when you feel what you feel, don't just stop at the feelings. Remember, feelings have no intellect.
Okay, so I'm continuing sharing. This said I'm not really sure what I'm feeling. And Felicia said insecure, overwhelmed, anxious. Very good responses. Anicia, a bit worried at times, depressed sometimes. And Felicia also said helpless. Now, RH asked a very important question. Miss, even though feelings have no intellect, wouldn't your thoughts still be associated with a feeling?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
That's where they start.
I think
what you're thinking is directly related to how you're feeling.
Your thoughts, yes.
Yes.
So the thing is, a lot of times when somebody say, I am feeling stressed, and you ask them, why are you feeling stressed? I don't know. So that's the reason why we say feelings have no intellect, because there is a connection. And if you just take some time to sit down and memorize, you are going to realize that is what I am thinking, hence the reason why I am feeling that way. So even though your feelings have no intellect, it is connected with your thoughts. And when you are not really sure what you are feeling because your emotions are all over the place, just do some memorizing and you will realize what is causing you to feel that way.
And I'll also think about the feeling as a check engine light indicator, or a smoke alarm in your house. The smoke alarm is there and it may never go off, but then a fire starts somewhere in your house and the smoke alarm goes off. Do you then go and bust up the smoke alarm? You just break it, you're vexed with the smoke alarm. You don't, right?
You try to find where is the fire.
You try to find where the fire is coming from. And so that's kind of a similar analogy with the smoke alarm is the feelings, right? the feelings are indicators that there's something going on somewhere that is impacting the smoke alarm or the indicator. It's the same thing with the check engine lights. You don't go and bust off your dashboard and say, oh my goodness, this stupid, this tortoise thing just is coming on. No, it says to you, it's indicating that there is something going on with your engine. So don't be upset with the indicator. Be grateful for the indicator. Be grateful for the smoke alarm, because, so I'm not saying don't be upset with the feelings you have. I'm saying don't stop there. Don't think that's where it originates. What it does, feelings just tell you what is happening in your thought life. So when you feel whatever you feel, if you can do it right now, think about it. What are you feeling now? And then just start going back. Okay, what am I thinking? What are my thoughts? What are my interactions? What are my mindsets? When you go back, you go down to the root, it tells you, and then that way you can say to yourself, okay, this is not true. I'm thinking this, but this is not true. This is not accurate. Or you can go and do research to find, or some other way, talk to somebody and say, here's what I'm thinking. Is this accurate? You can check, go and pray and say, okay, Lord, tell me what is true about X, Y, or Z. And you will see your feelings will change. Okay?
All right. Time check, Dr. Larrier. It's now, according to my time, it's 4:04.
All right. It's 4, yes. Okay, yes. So that's it for me. And I am done. So thank you all. I don't know if anybody has questions. I don't know where's Beverly, Miss Ellis, any of the administrators.
You have 10 minutes.
Huh?
Miss Beverly said you have 10 minutes for questions.
Oh, okay. Any questions?
Okay, while persons are thinking of their questions, just remember, if you would like to know more about GCSCORED, please visit our website, everypeacematters.com. Also, remember you could visit the Listening Oasis Wellness space to see how you could speak with our wellness champions, so that we could set you up with one of them and you could be rumerized. And all of this is for free.
Yes.
It is all for free. We have persons who are well trained and equipped in the RUMERTIME process, and they are willing to speak with you one-on-one. And I am the one who is in charge of managing that wellness space, so I am marketing it. So students, feel free to utilize our wellness space so that you can become a better you. And even in these times, I know it's very difficult, so to get the services, and you have all these emotions. So feel free to reach out. Any questions?
I'm going to share this again.
Not a question, but on behalf of the university and my department, just wanted to thank Dr. Larrier and thank the students who attended the session. Thank Kalisha for moderating. Good job.
Yes, she did a fabulous job, as always. She's just fabulous. USC is producing amazing people. So those of you, this is a plug for USC. You know, you get good education and good skills. Kalisha she's an amazing person. And I'm sure you guys getting some good education there at USC. I am actually from Trinidad. Actually, I'm from multiple places in the Caribbean, but I always enjoy working with my people, and I'm usually back in Trinidad every year, but I'm not sure it's going to happen this year. So,
Dr. Larry, I see someone is asking for the link to be placed in the chat. So I'm not sure if it's the link for GC
Yes.
Squad contact or what. Maybe the person could unmute their mics and say what information they want.
Asha is the one who asked the question. Well, yes, she asked that it be placed in the chat. Are you referring to the wellness space or you are referring to GC Squad? I'm going to put both of them. I just placed the first one, listeningoasiswellness.com, and the official website for GC Squad is Every Piece Matters.
I'm gonna copy this slide, Kalisha.
Okay. Yes, Dr. Larry, go ahead.
And I'll put it in the chat as well.
Okay, great.
So that way, okay. I see Rosalie, thanks for coming. Wallace. Rosalie is from Brazil, and she's GC Squad, one of GC Squad's first interns. And then Wallace is our admin assistant. Good to have you all here. So, all right. Well, it sounds like everybody has all their questions answered.
Seems so.
You know, I encourage you all to use the RUMERTIME process, what you've learned so far this evening, today. I think it would serve you in good stead. We've put up contact information, Kalisha's email. I'll put it in the chat.
And just adding to everything Dr. Larry has said, one thing about the RUMERTIME process, it teaches you to become your own rumorizer. So it allows you to become independent. You don't feel like you have to depend on someone. So once you are able to understand and you get experience in the RUMERTIME process, you now can become your own wellness coach, because your own wellness coach, because you are able to look at your problems, look at the different situations in your life and rumorize on them. And trust me, I rumorize a whole lot. I'm sitting on this chair and actually have my journal next to me.
Yes.
I take some time to rumorize myself. I still have my story going on.
Yes.
So I'm not just telling you about it and not doing it myself. I'm leading by example.
That's right. That's right. And you can get those books on Amazon. The journal, you can get it. It's a guided activity journal, and you can get it on Amazon. I don't know if it ships, if Amazon ships to the Caribbean. I'm not sure. So, all right. Well, doesn't seem like anybody else has any more questions. Yeah.
Thanks, Dr. Larry.
Thank you, Ms. Ellis.
Thanks, Kalisha.
Yes. Thank you all.
Students. See you in the next session at 4:30. Please remember to log into the main Zoom account.
All right.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.